I'm guessing it's neither in one of the two versions of the city that's mirrored with each other. Or here, I guess. Or in the museum. I don't know, we'll come back to the Zandy thing later. Or maybe not. I don't know if it comes up at some point. Or if it's just like storytelling about something that happened. Or if maybe I need to gain access to something somehow. If only these had coordinates on them, right? Wouldn't that be handy? There's clearly a bunch of space on here for the coordinates to be the same coordinates that I'm using. The digit counts even match, where there's a ton of digits for the first one and only 3 digits for the second and third. But they're not giving that to me. Alright, this is probably it. Yeah, 60,000. I'm looking for 57,000. Let's run around a bit. I'm running almost on the axe. Yeah, I'm running almost parallel with this coordinate, apparently. I want to go lower, so does this one go lower? Okay, this way. It might be one of the balconies or something, but we'll see. It is not going down quickly. Not at all. Okay. No. Getting 3,000 away from where I am is going to be a little harder than that. But I want to go that way. I've been on that roof before and up on that balcony before, I believe, but those aren't far enough away. So those wouldn't work either. Well, this will take me straight back to the Nexus. Let's try the neighborhood that's this one, but mirrored. 'Cause I don't know where that's located. It might be across the entire cave, or it might be directly in that direction by 3,000, I'll just call them feet. If I say feet or meters, just assume I'm referring to whatever this... Oh. This is inside 000, or is it just not on the coordinate plane, so it's saying 000? I don't know. Given the importance of this thing throughout this this content, this might actually be the 000 coordinate. I really wish these had numbers on them, though. That'd be really useful for my purposes. I can't really think of an in-universe reason why there wouldn't be coordinates there. They have a space for the coordinates, but not the coordinates themselves. What's up with that? Really? This is the mirrored one, and the coordinates are basically identical. For this one, at least. So they're parallel along the canyon wall, it looks like. It also means they're not going to be helping me here. But the main city was super far away. So the giant city you walk around in must be on the opposite side of the entire map from here. It's probably the red light. The blinking red light you see through the telescope is probably the other neighbor is probably the main sprawling area, which is probably on the opposite side of the entire cavern from here. Can I see that here? Yeah, they have one here too. Oh yeah, you can tell. Down there is where the ferry is, then you go the zigzagging path and then the long staircase and you end up here. And there's the library. Like, there's the giant... Yeah, it's across the entire place. Now that I've been there and explored it thoroughly, I can recognize that that's what that is. That's super far away, which is why these numbers are so divergent from between like 2,000 and 60,000. So it's on this side. But the coordinates don't move fast enough for me to get even close to being in that range while I'm here. But the grand zero or whatever it was called was also totally wrong. I was in the main square before. Let's try the library. That's the furthest away location I can find within the other sprawling area. Because I don't know how much the X coordinate, or whatever, I'm just calling it that. I don't know how much the X coordinate changes over the sprawl of that zone. Whoa. So you were 2,000, and now you're 56,000, all within the sprawl of this one continuous area. So, this place is massive. Alright, so it's 57, 325, 110, 79. We're at the right height, which is a very strong indicator that we're at the right place, because this place is super vertical. We're really close on coordinates. Is it going up? It's going down, I think. Yeah, so wrong way. Somewhere over here. I gotta get above 5,700. There we go. 57, 325. These are hyper-specific coordinates, aren't they? Three 57, 325, 97. Okay, so how much do you change if I go this way? I need to go higher. It's probably behind it, judging by the movement of that axis. $106. Ooh, it's blinking at me. We're already there, I think. There it is. Oh boy. Careful. Full. I got it. The good thing he's got those reflexes to not die. Okay. You warped right the hell back. I got it though, right? So I guess we're going back in. Oh yeah, I'm already here. So I go to you. That was risky. I immediately liked this system a little bit more the moment I had all three coordinates, because then at least I could solve the problem. I'm like, okay, I have coordinates to work with. I just need to try to figure out how to move in this environment in the direction necessary to find this coordinate that I've been provided. But before then, I'm not really sure what I was supposed to do besides wander. Which is at that point it was my third or fourth time wandering through the entire city, so I'm not really in a hurry to do that more. So now we know where both coordinates point to. Or all 5 of them if you want to count all the previous ones too. But 4 of them are taken care of. One of them is a question mark. This weird note. The gathered will tell the path of the shell, Zandy. I found that location. I just don't know why or what. Maybe if I actually meet the character who left that journal, I'll find out what that's for. And why I wanted to find it. So this must be the final upgrade for my key, right? Like, has it happened? Is it time for the urRu and the Skeksis to merge into the urSex? Urskex? By the way, I'm not making that up. Oh my god, it's the Great Conjunction. I kind of wonder if they got the names from that. This game is called urRu, but for those that don't know, in Dark Crystal, the peace-loving, weird, four-armed creatures that the protagonist was raised by are called the urRu. They have the same name, and this thing looks like it's from the Dark Crystal, both between the crystal and this like great conjunction thing spinning around. I'm like, all right, this game's called urRu and it has this in it. I might be getting the name slightly off, but it's really close to urRu at the very least. Down to the point where they're, because merged together they were called the urSkeks. And the urSkeks split into light and dark, two different beings, which I believe were the urRu and the Skeksi. Which the Skeksi are just some of my favorite villains ever. Those vulture creatures. And this would be Ae'gura's observatory right here. She didn't have a giant crystal in it, but the rest of it's pretty familiar. This is neat. This is neat. This image speaks to me. Because it looks like it's ripped directly. Like, they're working on a prequel. They're working on a prequel series, and there's graphic novels and so on of Dark Crystal, and like, this is an image that I'd be prepared to see in one of those things, is this exact thing. Neat. Anyway. Is it you? Are you the one I do this thing with? Nothing happened. Am I already done? Oh, you warp back, right? You'll just tell me what I need to do? Not really, huh? Oh wait, there's like a weird panel over there, isn't there? Alright, get me. Probably isn't what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. I'll wait for it to come around. It's an excuse to stare at this thing for a bit. Okay, little aside, because I'm thinking about this later on and stuff like that, comparing between Dark Crystal and urRu and whatnot. And I'm just thinking about the fact that, like, in Dark Crystal, the urSkeks are these celestial beings that can beam from one location to another, like, you know, like the Dini with the linking books and everything. Like, they can just appear suddenly in a new world that didn't invite them and just show up there abruptly and so on. But also in the Dark Crystal, the urSkeks are split between two creatures. They get split in half by an event during the Great Conjunction, and they become the Skeksi and the urRu. And when you look at those two things, the urRu are the peace-loving, like, one with nature, zen, chill people that are about harmony and so on. And they live in a cleft. They live in like a chasm, a valley thing, where like there's a normal surface just around them, but they live surrounded by rock walls and so on, where they have plants and they have sand and all that. Like, I'm looking at that stuff and I'm like, it looks like Tiana's home, the cleft from urRu that you used to get into the game in the first place. And Tiana was somebody who separated themselves from everything else and lived in harmony alone and wasn't dealing with any of the greater constructs, and she was rejecting the overall structure of being a member of the Dini and so on, and just was moving on from that, like the urRu were. Meanwhile, the Skeksis lived in these opulent cities and they clung to their wealth. The Emperor is like just desperately clings to the symbol of his power all the way to his dying breath, much like how Kadish is found dead in his vault when he could have left. And the Skeksi, much like the Dini, had slaves and so on. And I'm just like looking all the stuff all the way down to like the crystal here shooting lasers like the Dark Crystal does, although the functions being different, and this rotating thing that looks like the Ae'gura's observatory and so on. I'm like, you could probably get a lot of comparisons if you spend some time with these two properties and really look at them for a while, because I keep finding more.
What's it for? Is that what you want to know?
Oh, and the urskeks that we meet in the Dark Crystal are the ones that were exiled from their home because they were seen as immoral and impure, and they had to serve out a sentence where they proved themselves worthy of rejoining society, much like Atrus's sons, who were exiled into prison worlds where they would not be allowed to rejoin or even leave that particular world until they proved that they were safe to come back. Come to me. Come to me. Taking a while. Oh, I'm on the spot. Maybe it'll, like, supercharge me. Or maybe it's already done. Maybe my key's already fully upgraded at this point. Whoa. The beam actually made a noise when it was pointing at me. Well, I'll try something. After all, I still have those other coordinates, right? Maybe I can do something there now that my thing's upgraded? Since nothing happened last time, but I was given those coordinates. Ah, the Dark Crystal theme's in my head now. Theme is so good. It's up there with Star Wars for main themes of just fantastic songs. Just one that people are less likely to know. I think it was the alcove. Was where I was. I went to the wrong one. It's like around the corner from here though, so it's no big deal. For a second there I saw the laser. Ooh, am I just gonna continuously see a spinning laser wall around this cave when I wander around it now? Because that's kind of fun. I thought this was the way. No, it's this way. Yeah, this is the other dead end, right? I think. Yeah. Okay. So I guessed the wrong one. But we're basically still there. And it was like right 2175. $58.81. I'm a little too high. Eh. Did I do it wrong? Am I supposed to be able to see it? Should be like right here. Judging by the coordinates. So one of two things then. Either I'm just barking up the wrong tree entirely, or I'm supposed to calibrate somewhere. There must be something I'm supposed to click on that makes it so that I can actually go to this location and see it. Because that's how they worked previously. The last 4 of them, I mean. It's either that... Goodbye. Ah. Whoa. Whoa. Was I supposed to click on that or something? Oh, okay. I was getting ready to leave. So I've got to wait for the thing to spin all the way around and come here. Alright, well, let's just wait, I guess. I think I have to click on it or something, right? But I kind of missed my chance there. Or what if I have to jump into it? That'd be dramatic. It's a leap of faith off a cliff. I'll do it. I'm not afraid. 'Cause I'll just warp back anyway. Come on. It's gonna be a bit of wait, actually. Oh. Oh yeah, that happened. Zandy, I have questions. Oh, let's calibrate. Oh, there's no linking book here. Never mind. Ooh. Let's get my notes out of the way because they're kind of on top of my... There we go. And my notes resting on my keyboard because my desk is overused. Oh. Oh, I think we're in for a lore dump. Whoa. I'm thinking of Shadow of the Colossus, the giant spiral staircase. Oh, that's a Relto. Will you upgrade my key? It might be all that's here. Yeah. Alright. I guess it's time to learn what happened to Zandy, I'm guessing? Dr. Watson. December 26th, 2003. I can't take it. After all our efforts to ensure everyone's safety down here in the cavern, yet another accident has taken the life of another friend. It's too much. For years I've been stressing that the restoration must be handled carefully, that extreme caution should be our byword. There is no reason to rush. Then recently the explorers began showing up. Despite our warnings, despite our statements that we're moving and working as quickly as we safely can, it wasn't fast enough for them. They just don't comprehend. We've been working down here for over 10 years. Yet they think they know better, that we can just approve areas more quickly. I have tried to impress upon them the importance of moving slowly, deliberately, carefully. My warnings seem to fall on deaf ears. Their enthusiasm is understandable. Their disregard for the safety of the people down here is not. Why does this sound like it's Cyan complaining about Ubisoft? Like, it sounds like they're complaining about Ubisoft, like, coming in and telling them to publish faster, basically. It's like, really fourth wall. Then Phil returned. He'd been gone over a year after he disappeared behind the door we were unable to open in Elder Camo. We had worried about him, hoping he was still okay. It was great to have him back and know he was okay, but he was just as willing to risk his safety and disregard our precautions as the explorers. Now, just a few weeks after his return, he was in an unauthorized area today and was killed when a wall collapsed on him. The accidents must be stopped. It started with Branch being killed in an accident in one of our trips in 91, then the death of Elias in 93 because his obsession with restoration had caused him to neglect his health. Then all the needless injuries suffered by various restoration engineers over the years. And now the death of Phil. That is the final straw. It has to stop. I cannot bear the responsibility of the restoration any longer. The price is too high. New Year's Eve. I don't know where I'm going. I've been wandering the tunnels for days. No direction, no purpose. Trying to clear my head. New Year's. Nothing happy about this new year. January 4th, 2004. I keep running over it in my head. I've been committed to this project for so long. Maybe I've been deluding myself about the truth. What if we've been wrong all along? What if Jeff's been right? 4 days later. Maybe the restoration should take a completely different direction. It's hard to imagine that I'm saying this. I'm still in denial that we've spent so many years of our lives heading in the wrong direction. But the very fact that I can even entertain that as a possibility means something. Next day. The restoration cannot continue as we had planned. It breaks my heart, but I know deep down that it's true. So much time, so many plans, so much gone. So much. I still can't believe I'm even thinking this, but that's the way it has to be. Will the other restoration members understand? Maybe. The explorers won't, I'm sure. Can't be helped. The restoration can't continue after these events. But all that work, all the progress we were making, no words to describe how angry it makes me. Even while knowing inside that this is how it must be. Such a waste. Next day. No. There must be a way. Something else we can do to continue the restoration and still ensure everyone's safety. Surely now that people have seen tragedy firsthand, they'll recognize how important our caution is. 2 days later. Depression. It won't work. We tried that for months. Even Phil's death won't change it. 2 days later. I realize now that Atrus was right. He said the city and the cavern should not be restored. I believed for years that his admonition didn't include those of us from the surface, that we could somehow be a loophole in his concerns, but he was right. I finally see that now. Next day. What do we do now? Next day. Phil said that he'd been on a journey and was convinced that there was a better way. I need to talk to Ae'gura. There's a name, by the way. That's someone to keep track of, apparently. Ae'gura? Next day, I find myself here, in a familiar place, that suddenly holds so much more meaning. Here, at the very crossroads, the pivotal juncture of Denis and human intertwining. This very room, where Tiana once rested her young son Gen. Where Gen and his own son Atrus slept along their journey. The small room on the cusp of the grandest of rooms. A tiny resting place half of the distance up or down the great shaft itself. A pause halfway between here and there. Oh. First of all, I don't know if I entirely realized that Tiana was Gen's mother's name. So that means the Book of Tiana is about Atrus's grandmother then. I think that's the second or third book. Yes, it's the second or third book. If I'm gonna not specify, because it's not the first one. There's only 3. I don't remember if it's second or third. There may not be it's not necessarily a chronological order, but there's a release order at least. But this location actually came up in the Book of Atrus when Gen is taking Atrus down to the city of the Denis. There's a place where they stop to rest, and Gen makes Atrus throw away all of his clothes and put on Denis clothes, which Atrus finds uncomfortable. It was devastating to Atrus. Atrus couldn't stand it felt impossible to him, the idea of leaving his clothes behind, because it was the clothes he'd been wearing forever. It's the stuff that tied him to his life with his grandmother, which was his life up until then. Meanwhile, there's actually some decent thematic resonance going on with a lot of this stuff. Like, you shed your past and you shed your clothes, and the new clothes were stiff and uncomfortable and had to be broken in. And during the long journey from here down to the Denis city, which is still days and days of walking in a cavern, a collapsed, ruined cavern at that. On top of all that, like, freaking the boots chafed him and rubbed his skin away, and he had to be bandaged and treated because of how much he was being damaged by these clothes and so on that his father was forcing upon him while rejecting his past and so on. A lot of that stuff. I do find it odd that there's no linking book of any kind between the cleft and the city. I guess it has something to do with Tiana's rejection of the Denis, which, I mean, Denis characters are almost exclusively negative influences on basically everything, so I can see why somebody would want to isolate themselves from that. It's the conclusion that apparently both Tiana and Atrus ultimately come to, and they're the closest things to good characters we have, really, besides, I guess, Yeesha, who admittedly we only see as a child, who is either off camera or damseled in various ways until now, and then now she's guiding us through this, but we don't really know her. We just know that she's telling us what to do. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, a tiny resting place half the distance up or down the great shaft itself. A pause halfway up between here and there. I find myself here. It's been my pause, my chance to ponder. I've been wandering for 3 weeks, grieving, thinking, fasting, reflecting, pausing. Pausing from the cares of work, of rebuilding, of rules, of structure, of people and places, of frictions and factions, of life and death. And now I realize that I have only looked on Denis as bones. My rebuilding was only an attempt to reassemble the dried, dead bones into a dried, dead skeleton. No more alive, but arranged to poorly mimic what was once alive. I somehow thought that those dried bones would live again and become the storyteller, telling me things I longed to know. I still long to know. I still feel a calling. I am meant to be part of Denis somehow. I am drawn here because it holds an answer for me. But now I understand that I need more than a dead story from a pile of bones. I need a storyteller who lives. And so here I am, small, on the edge of a vast unknown. This place that seems so appropriate. I've come to a conclusion. A conclusion that goes against who I was, but fills me with life and hope. I will take a leap of faith. I will take a new journey. The journey that Phil encouraged me to take for myself. A journey that is out of my control. I will jump into something and lose myself. Take a journey to places unknown, whose end is not yet written. I will follow Yeesha's mysterious beckoning. Somehow even writing it lifts my spirit. I am returning to the surface to do just that. And you, friend, if you have not already done so, should do the same. Leap without truly understanding what lies beneath, and let a glimpse of the future rise up to meet you. I'm terrified, but also full of hope that Denis can now truly be restored, alive again, and the storyteller will be alive, and it will be me. That's a cool note. Am I supposed to jump in? Until you talked directly to me, for a moment there I was like, wait, is this my journal? Because I don't know who my character is not established. It might just be me, like you, because that's how MMOs work, is it's the player inhabiting a body, so that's who you are. But briefly, the fact that he talks about going after Yeesha's journey made me think for a second, like, is that me then? Because I was thinking about how that's what I did. Oh my god. Neat. Woohoo! This is a bad idea. Where the hell am I gonna go now? Perhaps the ending has not yet been written. Okay. Oh, okay. So we're just back. It's like a portal into another world. What age is this? I mean, it could be an age. It's just, for all we know. Thing about Myst is that so many different settings and stuff could be technically in this universe because of the nature of the books. Alright, well, here we are. We're just back. So, like, that's the end of that storyline? Is we just find out that that character went after Yeesha. Huh. I'm trying to think of what that entire branch did to the story and what it added. And it's weird. We explored the city, calibrated a thing, got to a bunch of coordinates just to find that a character went on to pursue Yeesha's path, like we're doing now. That's the ending? It's just the ending of that DLC is essentially the beginning of the game. It's almost like a prequel, except the majority of what I was doing had nothing to do with the narrative at all. It was just me wandering around, getting a bunch of coordinates, and kind of doing busy work for a while until that one final thing happened, which is that, oh, now that I have a coordinate thing, I can find where the coordinates are of that one thing I found in a diary and jump into it and get that one document, which is just a guy being sad that his life work might be over and then choosing to do what I'm doing. Huh. It's mixed. Like, I wouldn't call it entirely unsatisfying. There's like a satisfying kind of full circle element of that narrative a little bit. But it kind of... It doesn't feel like it added much. Like, the grand conclusion of that storyline was that we learned basically nothing. The main thing is I got to see a bunch of locations. I got to see a bunch of locations from the Book of Atrus. The one Myst book I'm like a third of the way through. So like I got to see some locations that I've heard of. But the core puzzle was finding stuff via, like, I was being a human metal detector. And I don't like that mechanic. And it was a little better when I had coordinates instead of being just a blind metal detector, but even that, I don't really think it was compelling. I just got it over with. And then it's over, I guess. It definitely stinks of being unfinished content, especially with the way that it ends with being like, perhaps the end is not yet written. And then it just brings me back here with no context of what me jumping in that hole did. So I think it might just be a dead end, that I just never finished the next content because they were planning more expansions or something. And so instead that one just stops. And we just get to be not that satisfied with what I just spent the last 3 hours working towards was like a dead end. Huh. That was a real bummer. Still have things to look into though. Are you the one? Kind of. I think I still have stuff to figure out about you, but the big stuff is you're unfinished, I believe. And you're unfinished? Yeah. I need to figure out which of these I'm going to try to use.